Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video, and this is a paid request for Phil. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, random thoughts, dreams, commentaries, video game playthrough for an hour, a full playthrough, movie review, re-review, random thoughts, tier list, rankings, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. I do have a CashApp as well. Links are down below in the info box, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. And this is for Dragonheart from 1996. Which, to be honest, I have not seen this film. God, when was the last time I saw this film? Honestly, it probably has been at least 25 years. Like, I have not seen this film in a long time. And I liked it. I liked it. Some could say the CGI is, bad. I think for the time, it was commendable in what they were trying to do. And with the way the character, the dragon, the way its mouth and the facial movements, the voice of Sean Connery, his performance, I think despite the fact that, no, it's not photorealistic, but it is a film from 1996. Compared to some of the other films at that time, it looks decent. And even if you... Okay, when I say look decent, I think for its time, I think Sean Connery's performance still makes it a character that I liked, rooted for, and was intrigued by. To the point that I would definitely say he's one of the better dragons ever put to film. I like the design. I think Sean Connery, that was a great choice for a voice. Now the film, I guess it went through some stages of writing, and I know the writers, I think one of them was the guy who directed that Space Invaders movie. I think. Was it Patrick Reed Johnson? But anyway, there was two people, and they definitely wanted a more darker, grittier, serious movie. They wanted a more serious film. And then one thing led to another. You got Rob Cohen. And you tell, like, you read up interviews, you tell that the writers were not a big fan of Rob Cohen. They didn't like the changes he made, the changes that were wanted to be made, the casting choices on, not Sean Connery, but some of the other casting choices. And they felt that, some stuff was lost in the transition, and that the film should have been better. And the film, I don't think did that well when it came out. But yeah, this is the time we had Independence Day, you had Twister, you had a lot of big films in '96. I think Mission Impossible was that year. So this film didn't do the best when it came out of the box office. Now it stars Dennis Quaid. You have the voice of Sean Connery as Draco the Dragon. You had Dina Meyer, David Thewlis, Pete Postlethwaite, good character actor, may he rest in peace. And the plot of the film is Dennis Quaid is a knight. He is trying to look out for this prince. And one thing leads to another. There's a battle that happens with these peasants. And one thing leads to another. And the young boy gets... He's trying to do something. He gets kicked. He goes over here. He gets impaled. He's dying. Dennis Quaid and the boy's mother. Dennis Quaid is sworn to protect the kid because he made an oath to the king. They go to this area and they meet. There's this dragon. Are you sure this boy will be a good man? Are you sure this boy will be a good leader? Are you sure about this? I feel some iffy stuff about him. Dennis Quaid's getting pissed. Are you going to help him or not? Yeah. Eventually, the dragon does and gives a piece of his heart to the boy. So the boy lives. But the boy says, fuck the deal. He becomes a fucking asshole, ruling the land, being a dickhead, a dickwad. Dennis Quaid thinks the dragon, his heart fucked up the boy, which just makes him look like a fool, but he does admit later that he was a fool. So it's like, that has to be the case, it has to be the case, so he goes and becomes a dragon hunter. I thought the cut to 12 years later was very awkward, was very abrupt. Because it goes from, you changed him, dragon, you tricked me, I'm going to find you. Then cut 12 years later. I'm like, okay, it's a bit abrupt. And then the rest of the story is Dennis Quaid is a dragon hunter, eventually meets Sean Connery. They make a deal because he's the last dragon. They're in a standoff, a stalemate, and make a deal where I'll pretend to be this dragon that's going to destroy this village. You come in to slay the dragon. You get the money. I pretend to die, go off to the next town. And it becomes a con man's game. Which I like that idea. I like the idea of a knight and a dragon doing these cons as a dragon slayer to collect the money. Draco gets food, whatever the case, and then they go off to the next thing. I think that's a cool idea. I think that's a cool direction of the story. I kind of wish the whole movie was just about that. Because the David Thewlis, he is the prince growing up. I didn't give a shit about him as a villain. I didn't care one iota. I get that as part of the other part of the story. It's just that the bit with the grifting was more interesting than this whiny brat. And that's who David Thewlis, that's how he's portrayed. Number one, I think what they did was they took the kid's accent and they made David Thewlis have this accent when it should have been the other way around. Have David Thewlis play the part the way he's comfortable with, then the kid should copy that. Then, for understand, in the script, it was supposed to be this guy who was very kind of manipulative and calm and deadly. And then as the movie went on and he realized his heart was linked to this dragon, and if the dragon dies, he dies, and that makes him more scared, makes him more paranoid, and then he becomes more crazy, and wild. And there's an arc. No, he's just this whiny brat. This whiny, skinny-looking, foppish brat that looks like Dennis Quaid to just smack him across the face, 5 across the eyes. The palm says slap, and just take the guy down. That's why I don't buy David Thewlis in a fucking sword fight with Dennis Quaid, because Dennis Quaid just beat the shit out of him. So I didn't care for David Thewlis as the villain. He was just, I thought, a weak, whiny brat that just, hey, how's it going? Some people may like him. I didn't. I thought, this weak villain. This guy's a pansy. He's pussy. Fucking pussy. Dennis Quaid I liked. Now, granted, the writers, what they wanted was Liam Neeson. And there was talks of casting Liam Neeson. And I will admit, Liam Neeson would have been better in this role. His natural dialect. He would have fit in this very well. I like Dennis Quaid. Do I buy him as an Englishman or whatever in the Dark Ages or whatever this took place in? No. But I like Dennis Quaid as an actor. I enjoy his energy. I think that helped. Is he the most believable in that part? No. Liam Neeson would have been. But the studio said, funny enough, he can't sell an action film. Which is ironic because later on you'd have the film Taken. And then How many action films has he done since? But, you know, Darkman he had done, it didn't set the box office ablaze, so they thought... and of course, he was Qui-Gon Jinn 3 years later in Phantom Menace. But anyway. So Liam Neeson would have been a better choice. It would have been cool to see the film with him as the lead. I think it would have felt more natural, because that's his natural, you know, the dialogue would have been natural. But I can't lie, I do like Dennis Quaid in the film. Like I said, his accent may appear and disappear sporadically, but he has enough gusto and energy, and he's having fun with the role that I do like him in the film. It's one of the things I like the most about the movie. The score is really good. In fact, I forgot this score was used in a shitload of trailers. Especially when they're trying to sell like an Oscar-worthy film. That... Like if you watch the trailer, the Patch Adams, the music in this is in that trailer. Ba da 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 da. I forgot this is where it came from. You hear it early on when Dennis Quaid is teaching the younger kid how the sword fight. You definitely hear it at the end, before the end credits start. But really, it's still a good score. It's a really good score. Very capable score. And I thought, as dumb as it sounds, Dennis Quaid and Sean Connery worked very well together. As in, I liked those characters together. Him trying to hunt the dragon and hooks the dragon, but the dragon drags him. And you have this practical style work where he's hanging and going through the trees. How you like the ride so far? Or he's avoiding the tail, and the dragon's tail gets stuck on a tree when he was trying to slam onto him. Or he's avoiding fireballs that the dragon's getting out of his nostrils. Or the fact that they caught in a stalemate where pretty much Dennis Quaid is in the mouth with the sword up, but the dragon has his mouth there. If you try to munch me, this sword's going to your brain. Well, if you try to shove that sword into my brain, I'm going to clamp down and bite you in half. And it goes from like day to night, and I thought that was kind of a fun stalemate of the two of them and try to figure out what to do next. I've forgotten all about scenes like that. Again, that's how long it's been since I've seen the movie. Like, I forgot about that. I'm like, oh, this is a fun scene. You know, Sean Connery, he does a good job voicing. It doesn't seem like he's sleepwalking or he doesn't want to be there. Because sometimes you have actors that they sound like, okay, let me just read the script. I didn't feel that way with Sean Connery, so I thought he did a good job as Draco. And Dennis Quaid is, I liked him as an actor. Jaws 3 even. Inner Space I enjoy him in. Vantage Point I enjoy him in. He's good in Pandorum. Just always been a Dennis Quaid fan. And I like the bonding that they had. I would like to have seen more. Because, again, I thought them and the drifting, that was the most interesting part of the film. Apparently there was going to be one more, but it was cut for budget. I kind of wish it wasn't, because to me that was the stuff that was the more fun, exciting parts of the movie. They bond, they get to know each other. Dennis Quaid asks Draco, well, if you're the last, then why don't you die? Like, you could end your misery. You know, other than misery, what's there to lose? And Draco goes, my soul. Because eventually later one finds out that the other is the dragon that gave half his heart to the kid. Of course, then Dennis Quaid realizes this kid was not manipulated, was not changed by the dragon. He was just an evil asshole to begin with. And then Draco thinks that he must die in order to stop this guy. And those are the scenes that worked well. Not a boy, but a man and his dragon. You know, they're having food. He's trying to start a fire. Draco does one of these. Hope you liked it. Well done. Or there's this girl that this village tries to go up for a sacrifice, and Dennis Quaid kind of kidding on, well, why don't you just eat her? I don't do that. I only chewed in self-defense, but I never swallowed. I think this comedy, that humor is what the writers had an issue with. They had an issue with that kind of stuff. They had an issue with Ready or Not, Here I Come, is what the dragon says at one point. I think they wanted to be more, I don't know if you want to call it more Lord of the Rings, more whatever the hell they wanted. It depends how you feel about Dennis Quaid and the dragon. To me, I really like those characters. I like the way they were bonding. How I would like to have seen even more of that. And I thought they worked well together. When the action scenes do happen, there's some good work with the fire. Like when the dragon flies by, you have an actual fire thing that covers pieces of the land. So at least they mixed the CG dragon with the real fire to make things more real. There's some practical stuff, like when he's standing in the mouth and they're in that stalemate. I wish we could have seen more practical, because I think Jim Henson's company worked on it. I wish we could have seen more of that. But it seemed like they wanted to push more of the CGI. Now, there's a rumor that George Lucas saw this film as what made him go, okay, CGI is far enough that I could do stuff with my films, the Star Wars prequels. I don't know if that's true. Some would say it was probably Jurassic Park, but some say maybe it was Dragonheart, just seeing how Draco acted. And, you know, with the face, they really made him into a character, and that's what I like the most. Whilst I did not photogenically realistic, they had enough character that I bought him as a character. I don't know, maybe it's that part of me where I'm not usually for fantasy films. I'm not a Lord of the Rings guy. I'm not a Hobbit guy. I like Willow for what it is. I don't give a shit about Game of Thrones. I've seen a couple episodes. I don't fucking care. Not my kind of show. But this idea of a guy and a dragon becoming friends, something about that was appealing to me. Maybe that kind of hit the kid part of me, that even as a grown-up, like, man, it'd be cool to be friends with a dragon. As dumb as that sounds, saying it out loud, that idea was just appealing to me, and I kind of got that living vicariously through Dennis Quaid's character, and that was part of my enjoyment, weirdly enough. Plus the music and some of the action bits. Yeah, there's stuff that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Get more into spoilers. There's a bit where they do a scam. Oh yeah, they do meet Dina Meyer, which again, do you really buy Dina Meyer as this English woman in the Dark Ages? Not really. Yeah, she's not, I mean, maybe it's not as bad as What was that girl in Alone in the Dark? Uwe Boll? Where we try to make her to a scientist? See, I already forgot her fucking name. Someone's going to say in the comments, it's okay, you don't have to. Doesn't matter. People know. If you've seen Alone in the Dark, Uwe Boll, you know who she is. Doesn't matter what her fucking name is. She sucked in that movie. Well, the whole movie fucking sucked, but she sucked in it as well. But yeah, apparently there was supposed to be more of a love story, but some of that was cut out. I actually don't mind that, because not every fucking film needs a love story. I would have been more bored if there was just another fucking love story. So I'm fine with that not being in this film. It doesn't bother me. But there's another scam that Draco and Dennis Quaid's character do. And eventually they find out that it is a scam. The dragon's not really dead. And so they go up to the dragon and they go, meat, meat, as if... Well, no, okay, this is what happens. He does the scam where Draco fakes that he's been impaled. And then they go, oh, the dragon is dead. We got all this meat. Meat. Let's go get the meat. I mean, okay, you're that desperate to get meat, but you have like a shitload of pigs that you could get meat from as well. You know what I mean? Even when they find out it's a fake, they turn on the humans, they go, meat, meat, as if they're starving for meat. But you have all these fucking pigs here. Like, why are you starving for meat when you got a shitload of pigs? I know that's what the writers said as well. How does that make sense? And they don't explain it. Like, you're worried about meat that goddamn badly when you got like 100 fucking pigs running around between your toes, up your thighs. Just maybe you telling some lies? I don't know. Maybe you want more than meat. Maybe you want the other meat in your mouth. Maybe they wanted to fuck the dragon in the ass. I don't know. They want the dragon pole. Maybe they have FOMO for Dragon Pole. I don't know. They got FOMO for Dragon Pole. They had one. They want some more. Because they can't have enough. They need much more. I don't fucking know. Maybe they're a bunch of hoes. So, anyway, enough of the shit. Eventually, they find out what's going on. They find out how Draco is, how his heart relates to David Thewlis' character. Dennis Quaid's character, he's away from being a knighthood. He's just cynical. He gets inspiration from the ghosts of the past. He gets the peasants. Let's train. I do love the shot where they're like, you in what army? And it's the shot you see in the trailer where he goes... And then you see the dragon rise up with the sun behind them. Very cool looking shot. I do wish because it really is the final battle. It's not as epic as it should have been. And I don't know if Rob Cohen just wasn't the right director for this. Because, okay, I like Daylight. Yeah, I could deal with the first Fast and Furious. But I never really think of Rob Cohen as an action maestro director. Yeah, I wonder if he had maybe a Rennie Harlin. I could see like Rennie Harlin or John McTiernan or someone else with more of a capable maestro of action. Could have maybe really propelled this action scene. Because I thought it was just kind of weak. You know, Dennis Quaid does stab a few people. Dina Meyer tries to fight some. Pete Postlethwaite, he's this guy early on who Dennis Quaid beats. And he's always like trying to praise Dennis Quaid, following them. He's kind of like a religious guy. Here, he like tries to shoot some bow and arrows at some bad guys. You know, good character actor. Even in films, you know, Jurassic Park 2, The Lost World he was in, Alien 3 he was in, as one of the prisoners. But I don't know, it just felt like the action scene wasn't up to snuff. And didn't feel as epic, didn't feel much with the choreography, with the scale. It just felt like it should have been better, could have been better. Like, I don't know, have a big scene where they raid the castle, or like, I got that out of Willow with Matt Mardigan, fighting all the bad guys and fighting the guy with the skull mask and all that. I got it out of Willow. Like, Ron Howard did that better. Here, I don't know, just something was missing. I don't know what to put it. I wish the finale was a more epic action feel to it. It didn't feel that way. Maybe that's just me. Then the dragon gets caught because David Thewlis gets hurt and they both can feel the other's pain. He goes off to get the dragon. The dragon says, "You have to kill me." I thought this was a good scene where Dennis Quaid's like, "No, I'm not." So he tries to make Dennis Quaid do it. And I thought he tries to claw at him. This I thought was a cool scene. He tries to burn him, but he doesn't want to hurt him. So Dennis Quaid stands firm and it goes over him, meaning the fire comes out of each nostrils and Dennis Quaid's in the middle. So you see the shot where he's like looking this way. The fire's on the left and right of him. That's a cool looking shot. Because it looked like Dennis Quaid was really there with fire on either side of him. I'm like, how the hell did they do that? Did they have like 2 flamethrowers? Don't move, Dennis. So we don't burn you. But it looked like he was in the middle of 2 fucking fire, like, flamethrowers going on either side of him. Like, that's a pretty cool, like, I'm like, how did they do that shot? I mean, at least that's what it looks like. There's some fighting. He fights David Thewlis in the sword fight, which I don't buy David Thewlis. That's another thing. I don't buy him as a villain. I don't buy him as a physical threat or a sword-wielding threat to Dennis Quaid. I just don't buy it. So that kind of lost a bit of his tension. I wish there was more bad guys for Dennis Quaid to use his sword against. And then he's got like an axe, and there's the guy going towards him. I'm like, if you barely tap him with this axe, you'll kill him. But I guess the idea is that you gotta kill the dragon to kill him, so he throws the axe to the dragon heart. And I thought this scene was really nice. He says some words. The spirit of the dragon goes up. You hear some words from him to Dennis Quaid. You see it rise up to the stars, which that was referenced earlier in the film in a conversation. That's how Dennis Quaid gave him the dragon the name Draco. Really cool looking shot where you see the reflection of Dennis Quaid's eyeball. The music's rising up. Very beautiful music. Very epic music. And then you have that kind of this, I think it's Pete Postlethwaite, this little bit of narration. It kind of ends on a high point. Like, I thought the way it ended was nice. It was nice emotional beat with the music and kind of at the height. Because if it kept going further, it would have dissipated. So I like the way where they ended. I thought that was well done. So I guess other than the fact that I wish some of the action and especially the finale was more epic, more exciting. The whiny brat villain, I didn't really care for. I mean, I would have been fine to just see more of them grifting and stuff. Because that was the more entertaining parts. Dina Meyer, not the most believable in that role. She was a bit miscast. Like, she's okay as an actress, but she's a bit miscast. Dennis Quaid, you just say he's miscast and you'd be right. Liam Neeson should have played the part, but I do like Dennis Quaid. I liked his gusto with it. Always nice to see Pete Postlethwaite. Sean Connery does a really good job. I like the design of the dragon. I like the bonding moments between the knight and the dragon. and the music's very well done. Overall, I would say I liked the film. I know there was a sequel, and I think like 2 prequels. I think there's 3 other movies. Actually, let me double check real quick. There's 4 more movies. Shit. Dragonheart: A New Beginning in 2000. 3, The Sorcerer's... What? Dragonheart: A New Beginning is a sequel. Dragonheart 3, The Sorcerer's Curse is a prequel. Dragonheart Battle for the Heartfire is another prequel. And Dragonheart Vengeance is another prequel. Why the fuck? Why the fuck would we need fucking prequels? I guess Ben Kingsley voices a different dragon in Dragonheart 3, and then Patrick Stewart voices it in Dragonheart Battle for Heartfire. I don't know. And yeah, I didn't know there was like there's 4 other movies. Okay. There's a video game. Really? There's a video game? For what systems? I'm sorry, I know, I'm just... For PlayStation and Saturn, Dragonheart Fire and Steel. And then there was a Game Boy version. Huh. Never knew there was a video game. PlayStation and Game Boy. Okay. Never knew that was a thing. So you learn something new every day. Anyway, with that said, sorry. Going off tangent. Thanks for watching. Take care. And we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.